Hi, I'm Ben Lee, co-founder of Talent Hero. We link US companies with UK contractors. I was born and raised in the UK, but I went to university in Chicago for 5 years, and that's how I got into it. Today, we're going to be going through the free staffing audit that we give to everyone, regardless of whether you become a customer with Talent Hero or not. And it basically just breaks down exactly how much money you can be saving and how we do the recruiting for it. If you go to the services tab on the website, big old button, you'll see it. It says free staffing audit. You click to it and you get to this bit right here. We're going to go through it real quickly. It's like 10 super short and quick questions. It's just company name, email address, representative name. Is your company trying to expand or cut costs? What kind of staff is your company looking for? What's your staffing budget? And then like, what are the roles that you would consider outsourcing? What is the average salary for each of these roles? How much employee overheads cost your company per month? What is the average 90-day churn? And your typical time to hire, and then just general questions about like the direction you want to take the company. All right, this is a previous company that we work with. They were super cool and they let us use their figures so that I could present this, but they just asked that we cover up their name because they don't want their finances on the internet. Starting with their goals, you see, we call them XYZ. XYZ's goals were they were looking to expand, they were after a machine learning engineer, and their budget was 150K. And their recruiting stats are they have a 22% churn rate, which is actually less than standard, which is a little bit nuts. It takes them 60 days to hire though, typically, which is higher than average. And it costs them about $4,700, which is a little bit less than average per employee that they recruit. General info about them is they plan on growing in the next 6 to 12 months, and potential candidates often ditch them last minute for their competitors. They also often don't have more than one good person to choose from, so they kind of just take who they can get. Going into their numbers, problem one. Their budget's too small. They have a budget of 150K a year, but the average salary of a machine learning engineer in the US is 161,000. Off the bat, they're setting themselves up to have like a subpar employee because they're not even paying the average. So they're kind of doomed from the get-go. And that doesn't even take into account the overheads that come with the US salary. Problem two, employee overheads from the data that they provided us through the form cost them about 20 to 50% gross salaries per employee. So if you do the maths on that, that's an additional $48,363 a year on top of the 160K salary. So they're actually way under budget in what they're trying to do, and they probably end up with a dog employee because they're not offering a good one. Problem three, the hiring time's way too long. It takes them 2 whole months to hire employees, 60 days. That's way too long. Plus then, the average churn rate is 22%. So it takes them 2 whole months to hire an employee, and 22% of the time, the person leaves within 3 months, and they have to do the whole thing again anyway. So it's just this endless loop. So this is the solutions from the staffing audit that we came up with. Solution one is sourcing from the UK. It frees up all of their budget. So before they were over budget with 150K versus 161K, but a machine learning engineer in the UK is only 87 grand a year. That means that XYZ went from being over budget to freeing up 52% of their budget. Huge problem solved. Solution two, UK contractors don't really have overheads the same way ones in the US do because we have free healthcare and other benefits like that. It's just not really a thing. So going from a US salary to a UK contractor, they not only now save $87,000 a year, take into account overheads, they actually save $135,000 a year. Solution three is our time to hire because, we're a recruiting agency. We're just way faster than other companies who have other shit to worry about. So you go from 60 days to hire on average for them to 14 days to hire. That's 77% faster. Especially when you take into account 22% of their new recruits leave within the first 3 months. So it takes them 60 days to get a new employee, and then they have 22% of the time they have to do that again because the person leaves. Obviously, Talent Hero is a recruiting agency, and that's the thing that we do. So we do a lot faster than companies who have other stuff to worry about. So we can reduce their hiring time by 77%. So when you weigh up all these problems and solutions that we come to, in total, for the machine learning engineer that XYZ is looking for, we can save them $87,000 a year or 54% on payroll with a UK versus US employee. We eliminate their employee overheads, which saves them an additional $48,000 a year. We free up 52% of their budget. They went from being over budget, and we now free up half their budget. We reduce their hiring time by 77%, and we reduce their risk of churn from 1 out of 5, 22%. Reduce that risk drastically because Talent Hero offers our 90-day insurance guarantor. So if the person leaves within the first 3 months, we'll replace them completely free of charge. So that's all the savings that they get. The total costs is $300 because XYZ's average cost to recruit was $4,700 to begin anyway, and Talent Hero charges $5 grand. So we save them all these benefits, and they only pay $300 more, and they get it. They get it so much faster. They pay less of an employee. They might get a better employee because they're from the UK and they're more educated. There's just the cost to benefit ratio, the seesaw is sending it to the fucking moon. Now, they also have a bunch of other employees in the section that they filled out where it's like other roles that you would consider outsourcing. And this was only when we did IT roles. Now we also do finance and just general business roles, but you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. So XYZ said that they would also outsource an IT project manager, a business intelligence analyst, a help desk technician, network admin, system admin, data scientist, and a software test engineer. And you can see on this little chart right here, across the board for all of those other roles, they save on average 50% on payroll, or $46,000 a year. And again, that doesn't even take into account overheads, which on average cost this company $48,000 a year per employee. XYZ ended up working with us and we got them a machine learning engineer. But going forward in the future, we can save them 50% on payroll plus overheads on all these other roles. Plus now we do finance and business as well as just IT. So this is the kind of information that if you fill out the form that you get from Talent Hero, and it's completely free of charge. We don't charge anyone for this. We just hope that, you understand that we're legit and we offer good advice and we have good solutions, and then maybe you can work with us and maybe you don't. Maybe just get a nice little presentation.